Hello, welcome to Krafting Kitty. My name is Erin and it is Saturday. So that means it is time for my weekly roundup. Yeah! So what is my weekly roundup? Well, we talk about my week in crafting, so any whips or FOs I have, works in progress or finished objects. I have a funny story about a whip. We'll get to it. And we tend to talk about the book I'm reading, but I forgot to bring the book in, so I'll talk about it a little bit, but we won't go too much into it. That'll happen at the end, so if you're not into the book thing, you can turn me off. I'll let you know when the yarny goodness is done. Okay, so what did I do today? Should we start? Not today. This week. If I did this all in a day, send help. This took me a week. Let's do the finished objects first. Okay, there it is. Oh, I thought for a moment. No, I forgot to email Laura. I will email Laura, but it will all make sense. It'll all make sense. Don't you worry. Let's put this at the bottom so I can do that with that book. That's right there. Why did I put my hair tie there? I don't know. It's Hot Mess Express here. As I said to Jenna from Jenna's Stitches, come to Krafting Kitty for the hottest of hot messes. What did I do this week? Well, I wanted to play with my Addie and experiment with some yarns. So I had a cake of Ferris wheel that I had just used the tiniest bit out of, and I was curious how Ferris wheel would work up on the Addie. Here is an adult-sized hat made with pink marmalade is the colorway. I think it's beautiful. It's, of course, double layer. So that is the other side here. You can pick the side you want depending on the look you're going for, you know? So yeah, that's just a adult-sized hat. I had enough in the cake to crank out what should be an infant-sized hat as well, but I just haven't finished detaching it from the round, from the Addie yet. So here we go. So pretty. One guess as to which child has claimed this one, even if it's a little big, she'll grow into it. What did you do during the Super Bowl? I made a Tunisian crochet washcloth. So this is just a Tunisian simple stitch washcloth. I had not been in the basement for a very long time. So we went down there to watch the Super Bowl, and I looked over, and there was a long forgotten project bag. And in that project bag is just a ton of cotton from when I was making the washcloths for the American Starfish. And so I was like, huh. And there was also another project in there that I had totally, completely forgotten about. Actually, two. But anyway, so I just grabbed one of the cottons, a Tunisian hook, and whipped this up. It's fun. It's pretty. This is actually I think a peaches and cream cake I got from a mystery box I bought a while ago from Nicole at Fibromyalgia Yarn Resin. Quick sip of tea. Yeah, I have quite a bit of this first cake remaining, and she had actually sent me 2. So probably make 3 washcloths out of it. Always handy to have washcloth. What else did I do? Well, I've been working on more yarn reviews. So Hattie is sporting the child size beanie I made on the Addie from the Loops and Threads Carousel Twist. So I'm still working on this review. I don't know when it'll come out, but it'll be soonish. And there you go. A little kiddo-sized hat. And I'm going to throw that over there so it's with the stuff for the yarn review. Hattie has nothing on her head. What? Okay, that's the leftover yarn from this project. Hattie, let's save you. I did Bod Hatapalooza this week. So this is called the Joshua Tree beanie from Bod. I used facets. I love the color. The cables get lost. So But like I knew pretty quickly at the beginning that the cables were getting lost, and I chose to continue. So that's on me. I still think it's pretty. You just lose the cables. I had 2 of these natural marl from Loops and Threads. This colorway is emerald. So pretty. So I have this much left of the one skein, and then I have a full second skein. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to make like a scarf or a cowl or something to go with this, or hold on to that for another Bodhatapalooza, because this yarn is fantabulous for hat making. I've really enjoyed it. This is what I need to send a picture of to Laura from Mad Mimi's Crochet. She hosts Bodhatapalooza. She announces the hat of the week on Tuesday, so check out her channel. What else did I do? Well, of course I did more Addy work, and in that lost project bag, there was like a quarter of a big scoop ice cream in cookies and cream. I said, what's that gonna look like on the Addy? Here you go. I think it looks really nice. This is an adult-sized hat, and I just cranked it until I ran out of yarn. I think it looks really pretty. The Addy really liked ice cream, and it loved the Ferris wheel. So that's nice. And I can claim this label now. Yay! What else do I have? Oh, that was a scrappy yarn from the Facets. Or not Facets, Natural Marl. Okay, so I did finish the Kitchener stitch ends on that frosty scarf I showed you last week as a whip. I think it turned out pretty cute. This is a kid-size scarf. So I have the white on the ends, and then the frosty in the middle. And there you go, and the ends look beautiful. So basically I have 2 frosty yarn sets now. Bingo, of course, wants one. I will let her pick which one she wants, and then the other one I will put aside for donation. So I can now claim these 2 labels too. What else do I have? I have one more finished object. So I am going to try to make things from this Addy knitting book, because I feel like I have a firm grasp on the scarf and the hat situation. So let's see what else I can do. So I went through, and they have these things like labeled on difficulty. So I was like, I'm just gonna start on the first easy 1-star item. It was a summer loop scarf. Here it is. As you can see, it's kind of a tighter cowl type thing on the lovely model. I did it. I used I had maybe half of a Karen cotton cake. I figured this will be enough to make that. It was more than enough. I have a lot left. I can probably make another hat. And I made it. So what you're supposed to do is stick your head through this hole here, and you have yourself a cowl. I cannot get my head through it. It just fits over Bingo's head. So Bingo said, I love it. So she's getting a little cowl, a little cotton cowl that she can wear for a while until her head gets a little bigger. And then I don't know what we'll do with it. Maybe let her play with her dollies with it or something. I don't know. But of course, anything looks cute on Bingo, so it's adorable. And there we go. So you might say, Erin, what's the next thing you're going to make from that book? It's a felted bag. Do I have any of the yarn that's suitable for felting currently available in my stash? No, it's packed away in the basement, where we have not labeled the boxes. We've merely packed stuff and stacked it. So guess who's going to Michael's to get some Peyton's classic wool? And this is the bag. It uses circles to connect the purse hangers, but I think I have some D-rings here somewhere that I can use instead. So I'd rather use D-rings I have in my stash than go buy some new circles, because is it really going to be that different? So yeah, it's it looks like you crank a giant rectangle and then you sew it all together, then you throw it in the washer and felt it up, and you've got a bag. We'll see how it works. I'm excited, but I don't know when I'll start it. It depends on when I get to Michael's. Okay, so those are all of my finished objects this week. Again, I think pretty darn productive. I'm happy. And I get to claim a number of labels. And I get to email Laura. What do I have in whips? I have 3 whips I'm going to show you. 2 we're going to talk about. And I'm not going to show you because I didn't bring them. Because I don't know why I do these things sometimes. First of all, I did add the next mini skein onto my pickle jar cowl. So there we go. I think the purple looks really pretty. And that's what we have so far. I think it's fun and nice and pretty. Not much to say there. We're going to keep on keeping on. Shall we pick the next mini? This is the pickle jar mini. This is not the pickle jar mini. This is the pickle jar. You get this from Aberdeen Wools. It is 40 mini skeins from Tangled Poets. And it comes with 2 recipes. And I'm making the classic striped cowl recipe. I should not have spun my chair there. So this is one of the patterns that comes with it. It's the initial one, and then they also include a bias scarf. So for my first project with my very first pickle jar, I'm doing the classic cowl. I did note, as I picked this up today to show it, I moved the jar, which revealed the pattern, which I flipped over and just glanced at, because why not? At the very end it said there's no need to ball up your skeins, just plop around the jar and knit freely. Which makes so much sense, because I had mentioned that I'm not caking up the minis, I just kind of leave them. But it makes so much sense to put them around the jar, because then it'll spin around the jar, and then I should have even less tangles, and it kind of keeps it corralled, because sometimes I'm working and it like falls on the floor, or who knows, but I don't care, because I only work on it in this craft room. The floor has some confetti, some yarn pieces from where I've trimmed other things on it. It needs a vacuum, but the animals don't really come in here, so it's all good. If it was not for me, I'd be more concerned, but since it's for me, not too much of an issue. But let's pick the next mini in the jar. We let the jar decide. Ooh! Some fiery reds and oranges next. That doesn't really match at all, but we're doing it because we let the jar decide. Fate is guiding us, and it's going to be lovely. It's going to be lovely. Why? It's things that I should be able to do, and I'm used to doing, that I just don't think, and I think I can just whip my chair, and I can't. I need to do things more slowly, more methodically, to care for myself right now. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, I kind of explained what's going on in my Fridays with Thread video. So there you go. I might talk more about everything that's going on later, but right now, I think you know the gist of what's currently going on. Okay. So, we're going to talk about the socks that I'm working on. And there's news on these socks. So, I took the pattern and I looked closer at it, because I think last week I mentioned, wait a second, there's 60 stitches here. That's what I do for my own feet. And I thought I was making these for Brian, and Brian's feet are much larger. Well, this is a woman's sock pattern. It was never intended for a man's foot. So I showed Brian the yarn and said, if you want this yarn, I had intended to make these for you. This pattern isn't going to work. I can rip out these socks and I can start a men's pattern for you. But if you're like, that yarn's cool, but I don't need it, I'll just keep forging ahead. And he was like, yarn's cool, but I don't need it. Just keep going. So these are now going to be for me, and I'm going to continue the toe up sock journey. So what pattern am I talking about? It's the Go Your Own Way socks from Knit Picks. It's designed by Stacy Winklepleck. There's the name of it. This was sent to me by Lit Knits Linda. It was gifted because she knew I wanted to start a sock adventure, and she is a skilled sock maker, and she really is fabulous at finding wonderful patterns. So like I said, this is my very first toe up sock. This pattern has both toe up and cuff down, top down directions, but the toe up is first, and since I've never done that, I thought why not? So that's what I'm doing. And I've already messed it up, as I mentioned last week. I missed where it said use a magic cast on, and I just did a normal cast on, so I have a little hole that I'm gonna have to sew up at the toe, but that's okay. I actually know a cast on that'll work. I don't know if it's the, what is it called here? Judy's Magic Cast On or not, but I'll do the one I know that will not do that hole, and we'll go from there. So here's where the sock is now. I'm supposed to work it to about 4 inches and then start my next spot. So that's what I will do. One of my stitch markers is in there. It's about 3/4 of an inch away from the 4-inch mark, and when I get to the 4 inches, we'll start step 2 and things will look different. So I did switch from my DPNs to my ChowGoo US, I think these are 2. Yep, US 2 9-inch circular needles, and in this one I am having to use a tape measure instead of just counting my rows. But that's fun. That is what we do. So progress is being made on the socks, even if they're not going to be for who I initially thought they were going to be for. Okay, so the last whip I'm going to show you is in this bag, and I am doing my year of amigurumi. I'm starting with making all the stuff from this Crochet Cute Critters book. It is by Sarah Zimmerman. I got mine off of Amazon. Look around. You can find pretty cheap. I think I got mine for, list price is $16.99. I'm pretty sure I paid around $7 for it. So deals can be had if you look. Sarah Zimmerman is behind Repeat Crafter Me on YouTube. She also has a blog. Tons of free patterns as well. But so I finished the first 2. So what I'm doing is kind of just going through the book and taking it as a pair. So the first 2 was an alligator and a bear, and now I have a cat and a dog. So I'm working on Callie the cat. There you go. And Bingo has claimed the cat. Chomps is claiming the dog. So I asked Bingo what kind of cat she wanted, and she said rainbow. I have a rainbow body for a cat. Well, I have an egg. This is the body for the rainbow cat. In my scrap bin, I had a very sizable Favorite Stripes jumbo left over, so that's what I'm using. And then I asked her for the cat's paws. In the pattern, the cat's paws are white. She wants purple. So I grabbed this purple from the purple adventure I had with Heather the Crochet Witch, and that's going to be the paws. And I specifically asked her about the ears, whether she wanted purple ears or rainbow ears. She would like rainbow ears as well, and she loves the Favorite Stripe yarn, so we're good to go. I'm going to just keep forging ahead on that, and hopefully next week we have a completed amigurumi, but no promises, no expectations. We're doing what we do. So I mentioned I'm going to have, I had 2 other whips to talk to you about a bit. In the basement, in that bag that had the cotton in it, was stuck a hat I started ages ago using my leftover Malabrigo Rios. So I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot about this. And then also a cowl, which was a kit, the CNC cowl kit that I got from Mountain Meadow Yarn out in Wyoming. And I was so excited for that. It's almost half done. I can't believe I just forgot it and left it languishing in the basement. So I've saved them. Since we're not really in the basement that much these days, I brought them up so they're more central on Whip Island. Whip Island is like my reading nook in our bedroom, which started as a reading nook, so it's got like bookcases around it and my super comfy recliner. But I kind of took over with project bags, and the whips are kind of scattered around the chair. So at least, so Whip Island is a physical thing in my house. I can go visit it. So anyway, it's in Whip Island. My plan is actually for March to do the Mystery Yarn Challenge with Lori at Armchair Chef, and I'm going to do I'm going to finish the CNC cowl for that, to get that just off. And like I said, it's virtually half done, and it's at a decreasing point. So it should go kind of quickly. So I might be able to get more than one thing off of Whip Island, which is probably good since I've now added to Whip Island. Erin, what are you doing? So that's the first thing to talk about. The second, Sweet Pea Sid's Inspirations is our Krafting Kitty Creator Spotlight of the month. I am so excited. I'm so happy with all of the projects you guys have been sending in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She is an amazing designer. She does great tutorials. She's fun. She has tons of stitch tutorials, knit, crochet, and Tunisian crochet. Stitch tutorials count. So if you watch one of her stitch tutorials and make a washcloth or a mug rug or anything, it doesn't have to be a full-on blanket or anything. That counts. So snap a picture, send it over to me. I had mentioned I was going to start a cape. Yeah, guess who started the cape and then promptly got so focused on the Berber afghan that I forgot the cape existed. So I added another thing to Whip Island, but it's okay, because if you recall, this I made following a Sweet Pea Sid inspiration pattern, and I said, this cape is so big, I may not finish it this month. I've got this as a backup just in case. It's no longer a backup. This is the prime item that will be given away. It's beautiful. It is so soft. It's made using Juniper Moonshine Trios yarn, which was glorious to work with. Oh my god, it was beautiful to work with. And so I made it, and Brian bought me the yarn as a gift. And it's not really a color that suits me, but I loved making the project. I loved using the yarn. In my craft room here, I have a box where I put the misfit projects. That's where this went. And I just happened to be going through that project box and gifting the things away because it's kind of my gift box. I go through it and I say, does this tell me it wants to go live with anybody? And it says, yes, send me to Cindy at Pups and Crochet. So off the scarf goes to Cindy at Pups and Crochet. Or that Crochet Lacy Sorrel I sent to Mama G. Now that one had lived on the mannequin for so long, and it just needed a new home because I knew it wasn't something I loved it. It was so soft. I'm not going to say it was a joy to make. That was a challenging pattern, but I have plans to make another one. I have the yarn for it. All the plans are laid. And for some reason, I just got Mama G gear in my head for that shawl, so that went off to her. Anyway, I don't know why I'm going on this digression. So anyway, that's where this shawl went. So it's not like it was in my closet or I was wearing it around. I made it, and then I was like, I don't know what to do with it, so it went into the gift box. So we will find the person that it was meant to be with through the Krafting Kitty Creator Spotlight. If the person who wins it is allergic to animal fiber, because it does have it's Moonshine Trio. It's baby alpaca, I think it's merino, and silk are the 3 fibers in it. We'll talk, they can let me know. I can always sub out mystery yarn from my project or from my giveaway box in that instance. But just a kind of a quick reminder, we do have 12 more days. It's the 17th. It's a leap year. 29th will be the end of the Krafting Kitty Creator Spotlight. So you still have time to get some entries in. And like I say, the number of winners is based on the number of entrants. There's going to be at least one winner who's going to win that. And then any additional winners are based on the number of entrants, and they normally get mystery yarn from my Hirschner's box. You know, sometimes I'm on top of it and I pick out the yarn beforehand. Lately it's been mystery yarn because I'm not on top of it and I don't pick it out beforehand. You still get your prizes, and that's what matters. And plus there's fun in the mystery. I love a mystery. So far, everybody who has won the mystery yarn has been excited by it and has been game for the mystery. So I think when it's free yarn, you become more comfortable with some ambiguity. Okay, so now I'm going to stop chatting about the crafty stuff. That's where I'm at. And we're going to talk about books. What have I been reading? So I've got 2 books on the go now. One that was recommended by Ray from Ray's Yarn Addiction, and it's called The Book That Wouldn't Burn. She suggested that because I had mentioned wanting to read a book set in a library or a bookstore for my library challenge. There's a 2024 adult reading challenge through my library. And they have, they've got a bunch of categories, and I think you have to read at least 12 books, 15 books. I don't know. You have to read a certain number of books out of all of these categories, and yeah, you can maybe win prizes or something. I'm not doing it for the prizes. I'm more doing it just for the fun of having some structure and direction into my reading, and hopefully it encourages me to read maybe some books I hadn't intended to read this year. So anyway, this one is set in a library. I've started reading it, but I am not super far into it. I'm only a couple chapters in. I will say, trigger warning, if you start reading it, in the beginning there is some violence against children. And normally that would make me stop, but I trust Ray and her recommendations, and I know she is sensitive to those kind of triggers, and she wouldn't send me down the wrong path. And so yeah, I'm forging ahead, even though it does have that, and I would normally stop. But if I wasn't intrigued by the book, I would stop, even if Ray suggested it. And I know Ray would not be offended if I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, this book is not for me." She would be fine with that. But it does seem intriguing. I'm interested in the world that it's being created, and yeah, I don't know how much to say or what to say because I'm like 3-4 chapters in. Not super far. But I have set it aside because I was reading it at the same time as A Court of Mist and Fury, which is book 2 in the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. And I had been reading like a fantasy romantasy book in tandem with other books for a while. But for some reason I am having struggles reading these 2 in tandem. So I'm further along in the Court of Mist and Fury. So I'm going to put the Book That Wouldn't Burn to the side. It's still front and center. It will be the next one I read. But I'm going to focus on finishing Court of Mist and Fury. So I'll finish this one, then I'll read The Book That Wouldn't Burn. And then I'll read the next one in the Court of Thorn and Roses series. It'll kind of be a back and forth rather than tandem read, if that makes any sense. I actually think what's happening is kind of related to some of the medical things because, so I've been diagnosed with a form of vertigo. So moving quickly I can't. And I've actually noticed if I tilt my head down, it can trigger it. I start feeling really woozy and I can't sit like that for long periods. So that, it's been resolving. It's better than it was. So that's why I've been able to craft more, because I mean, if you think about it, you sit that same way knitting or crocheting because you're working and you're like looking down to do it. And that, like, the tilting of the head, and like if the kids come, or if, you know, I have to move my attention to something, if I jerk my head and move too quickly, that's been causing me issues. And like when anything's off, I find in my head like that, my concentration wanes, and I'm not going to be able to sit there and read multiple chapters in a sitting. So it's more like I read a chapter and then I put the book away and I do something else. And that's how I've been managing, and I've been moving forward, and I've been more productive crafting. So that's really, really exciting to me. I had mentioned that I'd been touching my face more, and I thought it was a remnant of the wisdom teeth surgery. So I think it is the vertigo. I think I'm compensating for the vertigo and holding my head still so I'm not moving it. And like, I was so thrown by that diagnosis, but now after having it, so many things are falling into place, and it does make more and more sense to me. So I am glad to be going down, that we have a path, that we're going down something and we can figure it out. And hopefully this is the one and final issue to resolve, and we're good. Like I said, we are still investigating some other things, and I also said we weren't going to go into this, and then I just plow right into it, right? Just verbal. Okay. But that's my plan reading going forward. I'm going to focus on the one book, and you know, it's going to take me longer to read than it's been in the past, and that's okay. Even if it's got the big letters and all that good stuff. Okay, I've been blabbering enough. There's going to be a ton of editing in this because I had a couple of interruptions and things. So I'm going to go ahead and go so I can start that editing process, and I will talk to you guys later. Yeah, I'm super excited for the weeks to come. Nothing but going up, guys. Nothing but good things, right? We deserve a break this year. And we're getting it. Okay. Love you all. I will talk to you later.